Hi, everyone. Welcome back to episode 13. This is Evelyn.
What's up, guys? This is Isis.
And this is Shanti. Welcome, welcome.
So this is our episode back. We're celebrating another motherfucking holiday. Shout out to Father's Day.
Yeah, to all the papas. I'll give my dad a quick shout out. Shout out to my dad, for my love for music. Shout out to my dad for, respecting and loving my mom and showing me what a true man is and what a true partner is. Because my mom's a strong, independent woman and he ain't intimidated,
Yes.
But yeah, I love my dad. He works hard. He's one of those, those stereotypical immigrants, Mexicans that came here, worked their ass off, still work their ass off. So I love you, Dad. Thank you for showing me what a good work ethic is.
Yes.
Y punto. How about you, Evelyn?
I want to say, gracias, padre. I'm going to say this in English and Spanish, but shout out to my dad for his patience, his love, and I think most importantly, his optimistic mindset. That's always taught me to stay optimistic through any situation, even through the ugliest situations. He'll always find something beautiful. Like a freaking house could be burning on fire, but he'll be like, but look at this nice little plant that's growing, Yeah. So, gracias, papá. Lo quiero mucho. Y feliz Día de los Padres. Well, if you see this one day, te quiero mucho, papi.
Aww, that was cute.
What about you, Isis?
Hey, Dad, if you see this. Yeah, if y'all see him, you let me know. The message to him, thank you for showing me what a father isn't and what I will never allow in a father. Actually, I guess I can't allow that because he was never there. Yeah, nothing too deep. I mean, all I have to say is shout out to my mom for putting in the motherfucking work because she made a successful daughter despite the hurdles and despite the statistics I made it through.
Yes, I love that.
Period.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like everyone's fathers, my two older siblings, both dads now. I feel like as being the youngest, I'm like, dang, everyone's grown up. I'll call my brother and I'm like, hey, do you want to go out this weekend? And he's like, dude, I have kids and a family. I'm like, oh, whoa, you caught me there.
Good.
So I'll ask him again next month.
Family more than me.
Remember?
For real.
I was here before.
I think now being the youngest, I'm like, all right, everyone's doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But I think being the youngest sibling also has its perks.
For sure.
You guys are the youngest as well?
For sure. I feel like once they get to us, I will say they're very lenient.
Yeah.
Once it reaches to the last child, they ain't as strict, as they were with the first, the second, and maybe third, but yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel bad for all the older siblings in general because they have to take care. They have that responsibility. They're the guinea pig. It's like you gotta test out the car and see. But once it's already 100,000 miles through, you're like, all right, it's gonna get to point A and point B. But yeah, I love being the baby. How about you?
I love being the baby. Well, they call us spoiled, but I guess that's a term you could use for being jealous. Anyways, no, I hate to boot our own horns right here, but a lot of cool things that they say about the youngest, they say they're risk takers, they're more creative, they're willing to take more chances and things. But I understand though, I feel like every age has their stats or facts. Like the oldest, they're known to be more reliant and nurturing because they're the oldest, which I also feel bad because they have that pressure of okay, I am the oldest, I have to take care of my younger siblings. And then the middle child, they say that one wilds out. They always say the middle child is the worst child, but I wouldn't say worse in that way, but they do things the
middle child syndrome.
I feel like the middle child is the neglected one in the sense
I
that
agree.
The first child, okay, they go through the worst, but they get the most attention,
Yes.
because of the first one.
Yes.
But I feel like once it gets in the middle, and then if they have a little sibling right after, they kind of don't have as much attention as the first one. They kind of lose that attention quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I feel like that's why they're wild.
How do you guys feel about your older siblings? How many siblings do you guys have?
Just one.
Oh, can you put your hands up?
I know.
And
I'm not thinking my toes.
Let's just say Papa was a Rolling Stone and more ran through than a motherfucking marathon, but that's not here nor there.
I have two older brothers and a younger brother, and I feel like growing as the only girl also gives me that princess treatment. I'm like, oh, hey, can you get the lemonade? Thank you. Okay, massage my feet. But I do feel, I'm not gonna lie, when they say spoiled, I do feel a little spoiled by having brothers because I feel like as a woman, they treat me like, oh, would you want this? Or also having older brothers when we go to restaurants. Best believe I'm not going to touch my credit card. So we go out and they're like, oh, what do you want? And I'm like, oh, okay, can I get a number 4 with the large Coke and a shake and a cookie on the side? Because you said it though.
They're like, hey, can I take one to go? Because tomorrow I don't have to stop by lunch.
Yeah, so I like being the only girl through my siblings.
That's a real advantage, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, I have competing interests because most of my siblings that I did grow up with are girls. So I was the baby girl, but now I'm definitely at the age where it's like, Mom, don't worry, we're going to split it.
Oh, I'm at that age too. I'm at that age. I'm like,
when
whoa.
they ask for the Zelle, I get paid tomorrow though.
Bro,
But, yeah,
I don't even. I don't even.
makes
They don't
sense,
even gotta
though.
say it, bro. I just see a freaking Venmo request, and I'm like, whoa, that was rude.
No, honestly, because I only have a brother and it's just me and my brother, and we're only 2 years apart. Let's just say my parents be paying when we go out, but sometimes I have to take the bill or my brother takes the bill, you know? So I don't get that much of a princess treatment anymore. But yeah, no. Like,
but at least there's a family of 4. Imagine my family had my sister. It's 5
That's
kids. My other
true.
sister is like, it's giving.
Hey,
my
low key
check is
though,
at least
low key. If you
200.
think about it though, the check's cheaper though with all y'all, right?
that's true.
Because it's
too.
more y'all.
That's
But
more-
actually,
No,
actually, it doesn't
you're
make sense
dividing
though
between
because you're
3
buying more
families.
food.
Yeah,
yeah,
so I'm
that's
dividing
true.
the check by 3.
That's true.
by 3.
Yes, my like it would be 3 families. My family, my
sister's family.
my other sister's family. So like we'll divide the check like that sometimes.
Oh, when are the kids gonna pay though?
All I know is me and Milo. They
I
better
was to
start
say,
paying.
I was like, Bella.
Yeah, hey, Bella, I'll let her go. She already puts in the work.
Yeah, okay.
Do you feel like having also brothers in your life has changed how you grow up as in like a cultural way, like machismo or any of that? Have you ever felt like you felt inferior just growing up with a
the men
boy
in your
or to a male
family?
or to a male?
Originally, I didn't. Like, if you meet my family, it's not, we don't really have like traditional values like that. But once I was like 9, 10, my dad became Joe Witness. So let's just say shit changed, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we started becoming really religious. It was like a just different extreme. So I would learn about the Bible and I would have Bible study every Wednesday. And for years, I would get that. And I just remember like my dad implementing in my head that men are superior and that's like the word of God, you know, because men are the head of the household. Like,
Yes.
you know, women, I remember the Adam and Eve story, he would use it all the time to explain why women are inferior. And he would say that we come from a man's rib, first of all. Second of all, we fucked it up for the world by eating that damn apple. And because of that, I remember that always told me, because of Eve, we have periods, we go through pain, we go through labor that's like painful. I remember he would always blame it on Eve. And I remember I had beef with her. I was like, damn, dude, I can't fucking believe it. Like, because I would have like, when I was younger, I know like a lot of information, but when I was younger, like when I first started my period, it was really bad. Like I have cramps where I'm like screaming, you know?
Oh my God.
And I remember I would tell my dad, like, is this what this is? Like,
Like,
oh my
fuck
God.
Eve.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck, bro?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know because I grew up in a Christian household too, and I was known where the man is the leader. He should provide and protect.
Yeah.
And I was also told that because of Eve, I have like bad period cramps. And till this day, I still kind of believe that, but because my values were integrated in my head, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll be
It's hard
having
to
like
unlearn.
period cramps and I'll be thinking about her and I'm like, she may
that
have half
bitch.
of my name, but doesn't mean she is me.
Hey, well, at the end of the day, I blame Adam because if he's superior, he should have told the bitch to put it down. Did he tell her? Do we know that factually that he told her don't eat this apple from this tree?
But why is God playing games though? You know,
No.
it's like, hey, don't,
And the devil's
don't look
deceitful.
over there.
Hey, stop playing
You don't
games
wanna look over there.
and be a coach. Whoa,
Put
not
me
a
in,
player.
Because me, I would have ate the apple too. Was good.
Hey, if there's tahini, even I'll eat 2 apples.
Oh, matter of fact, give me the whole motherfucking orchard.
No, but I feel like, yeah, definitely growing up with like men, I feel like sometimes I do feel inferior or have felt inferior. But you know what? My dad has never given me like the masculine vibe of like, I'm gonna like do this and this. And he does protect, he does love, but he does it in such a very nurturing manner, you know?
Oh, that's nice.
But I do have uncles and cousins that deal like, I was like, oh, no, me vas a dar esto. Like, no. Like, if you don't do it this way, then go F yourself or something. And I'm like, who the hell do you think you are, you know?
Yeah.
Thankfully, I thank God I didn't deal with that, but I did witness it.
Yeah, my grandpa was like that. I remember being little. Like, he passed away when I was like 14. So I don't have like as much memories, but I remember when he would come to my crib. Like, keep in mind, my dad is not like machismo or nothing. Like, yes, he's religious, but he has so much respect for my mom. Like, he would never be like, where's my food? Like, I never felt my dad entitled.
Yeah.
And my grandpa would come and visit us. And I remember my grandpa was machismo. Like, he's old school. And, yes, I remember he would like be like, where's my food? And this and that. And I remember my dad would look at him like pissed. Like, cause he's telling my mom that. No, that's my mom's dad. Yeah, so he can't do anything. So
And the crazy part too is the fact that you would see these women and they would let themselves.
that's what I'm about to get to.
Yeah.
Because then my mom's over here like feeling the pressure. She's like, okay, Papa. And then she'll serve it to him and he'll eat it and he'll like this. tiene sal, or like doesn't have salt, or this. My dad would, I literally look, my dad would be fuming, like he's trying his hardest to tell this man off. But that's just the way they were back then. And the way I saw my mom and my tias like cater him like a baby. Like they'll be like, "Ay, puppy," and this and that, like a baby. Like they would feed him and he can feed himself. Like I remember being a little girl, I'm like, dude, not even my mom does that for me. Like it's just a trip, you know, it's just a trip to watch. You know, but I'm grateful that my dad didn't end up being like that. So, you know, that kind of means that my mom broke that cycle. So I'm blessed, you know, that she did that, because I got like a good role model of like what a real relationship is, like the respect, you know.
Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry we had a little technical difficulty, but we're back. You know, bitches get back on track. Anyways, back to the topic of Marianismo, something that the term I just now became familiar with, but it's something that I think I always had an understanding. So Marianismo, it's in Latin American and Hispanic households. So what is the definition of Marianismo? It's an idealized traditional feminine gender role characterized by 5 pillars: submissiveness, selflessness, chastity, hyperfemininity, and the acceptance of machismo in males. So essentially, it's like internalized machismo for Hispanic women, and how they then perpetuate kind of the same issues, those values. Values that are in machismo. Like, how do you guys think that has affected you guys, or has that played a role in your lives, being that you guys did grow up with, you know, both men and fathers and brothers in your life?
I feel like I've seen it in other people's life more. I did experience it, like, don't get me wrong, like, my brother did have more liberty than me, you know, even though we're only 2 years apart. Like, I feel like my parents were more on my case, and I felt it more when I was in a relationship, because it's like they became strict out of nowhere. Like, once I had a boyfriend, it was like, oh, you need to tell me where you're at. When it, like, if I were to come home, like, a certain time, I usually always come home, now it's a problem. So, like, that's when I kind of started to feel it. But I do see it more, like, in older ladies. Like, I'll talk to certain ladies that were married to, you know, a machismo, or they did live that lifestyle, you know, very self-sacrificing or very traditional values. And not always, but sometimes, like, I can feel that they're, like, a little, like, regretful or bitter, or like they just feel unappreciated by their kids or their husband. And it's just, I feel like that the way those values, like, I feel like now they reflect, and they're like, why did I give myself up so much, to the point where, like, I lost my identity, you know? Like, you just give so much love to everybody, and you're just so, like, self-sacrificing that you kind of forget to love yourself, you know? And then you reach an age where you kind of realize, like, damn, like, these people don't even appreciate everything that I've done. Or maybe they do, but then you realize, like, damn, like, I didn't get to do all these things, you know, and experience life, you know, because of that. And I think a lot of it has to do with women now doing a lot of things, like working, traveling, dating, like doing a lot of things that back then probably traditional women were like, no, I can never, you know. And now they look,
the selflessness part.
Yes,
of
exactly.
Marianismo. They had to give up themselves in order to allow men or other people in their lives to flourish, even their children.
Yes, and they implement that with their daughters. Like, and it's funny because I always thought, because like I said, I didn't grow up with those very strict traditional values. Like, I've experienced some, but not very strict. But yes, like, I've always thought that for some reason it was like the dads that were putting that standard on their daughter. But I'm starting to realize that it's really the moms.
A lot of the moms.
It's the moms that implement those standards on their daughter and those pressure, because let's be real, like, it's usually moms raising the damn kids, you know? So
especially in households that live under Marianismo.
Yes, like, you know, I think men, not the newer generation, even millennials, like, I do see them very involved, like dads. Like, I do see this new, like they're more shift. Emotionally, you know, yes, like, and like my dad, I love him, but growing up, he really wasn't really involved with us. Like, he really did feel like, oh no, like, no, I'll clean the house, I'll do stuff like that, but you take care of the kids, you know, like, you get them ready, you do this and that. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like men they just don't have that initiative that women do, you know, to like provide and take care for their kids. And so, yes, I'm starting to realize, like, machismo is also taught by the mom. Like, all those standards are women that are upholding those values and those standards. I'm like, and here am I thinking it's just all in the male, and the male is manipulating, which in a way it's true, but it's not the total picture, because there's the women that are willingly participating in that culture.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How about you, Evelyn? I feel like out of all of us, maybe you probably were raised the most with like, you know, Marianismo.
Most of Marianismo and Machismo comes from religious beliefs. As a Catholic or Christian, I mean, I grew up Christian again, but Catholic, it was always known the guy is the provider, the protector. But I think with time, men started seeing as like, I have the power, I have control in this household. I didn't experience it within my household, thankfully, but I know my grandmother did, and I witnessed her. I know that my grandfather passed away right before I was born, but I know that she would sacrifice, and I would hear stories that she would sacrifice anything and everything for this man, even though this man was probably with other women. You know, she would serve him. She was like, hazle caso a tu papá. And like, if they didn't listen to their dad, my grandfather, even though he was not faithful to her, she would beat her kids for that. Yeah. You know, like, you need to respect your elderly. But also, you guys heard that term, respect your elderly. It's also in the Bible. Like, they were very strong with these Bible beliefs, which I'm not against. Again, I do believe in most of these things of like respect your elders and all that stuff. But I think with time, like, you notice like everything that they sacrificed. Marianismo is not talked about as often as Machismo, because as Marianismo, I feel like sometimes it's hidden. You know, they don't want to talk about it because it's the truth.
I feel like because we don't like to talk about our moms. Let's be real, you know? Like,
about our moms.
I feel like because when Marianismo is putting women on blast, you know? So I feel like that's why it's kind of like hush, because if your mom is self-sacrificing, how are you going to judge her, you know, for that? Yeah. Like, if anything, you're going to gloat her.
And that's how they feel towards a man, too. It's like, how am I going to tell him something when he brings the food, he brings this? Yes. But that's the feeling that they feel for so many years because women couldn't work at the time. You know, they were so limited with the things that they can do. So the man's like, I am the provider. I bring food. Now you should respect me. Okay, cool. I respect you. But with time, these men take advantage. And it's like, you better do this for me the way I want it, or I'm not going to bring you food, or I'm not going to bring you this. Where people became more machismo.
Yeah, and that experience you're saying of your grandmother, that's like a key pillar, the submissiveness, and the acceptance of machismo male. So a part of Marianismo is you have to accept the fact that a man, because he's a provider, because he's the head of household, he's gonna stray, and you have to accept that. Yeah. That's just how men are.
Yeah,
and as again, a woman, chastity is very tight. Like, that's why the religion part of it, like you were saying, it's chastity, right? Like the purity, the being a virgin, the being pure, like just always self-sacrifice. It's like that kind of personification of, like, you know, la Virgen de Guadalupe, you know? Of like
the woman being faithful the whole time when the man's not.
Yeah, I think for me, like, when I look at my life, you know, I did not really honestly, I didn't grow up with men in my life, you know. I always joke, or my family jokes, like, all of the men in our life are the ones we marry, you know. Yeah, really the only ones that we marry. And so how I've seen it, I never felt like how you were saying earlier, like, oh, inferior. I didn't have to serve a man a plate. I never saw, like, you know, if they didn't like it, they threw the food and they told, you know. But I also think, had my mom been with my dad, I think then I definitely would have seen Marianismo, because my mom is very self-sacrificing. She's very much like, you know, like I said in the other one, my mom always told me, you gotta be good in bed, good in the kitchen, you know. So I feel like I likely would have replicated those things in my life if I had a father that was present in my life, because my mom checks all those boxes.
Right.
So shout out to you, Dad. You know what you were doing when you were not.
Hey, thank you. Next.
Yeah, thank you. Next, for real.
No, I think these men had so much power, and I think now, you know, it's funny. I started realizing that so many machismo is very integrated in Mexican culture, Hispanic culture, Latino cultures. And now, as I was driving here, I was thinking about, I was like, now, is machismo really a big thing here in the U.S.? And I feel like men, because a lot of them are immigrants, they feel inferior in their workplace because they have more things like, well, you're not this, you're not a U.S. citizen, you're not this. So now they can be more machismo at home because, like, I don't have control at work or anywhere else, but I can have control of you.
So they're like hyper performing their like
right
roles.
And it made me think that, because I have seen like where I have cousins or uncles that speak to their wife like, si no me vas a dar eso, pues, like that same face that you did with your grandpa, no me lo des. Like you know, the disrespect that someone feels. Again, it's seen differently in different views. If you're in Mexico, ay, déjalo, es que está enojado, he had a bad day. You see here in the U.S., no, I'm not gonna deal with that attitude, you know.
I feel like American women Because I think we're still in the United States and patriarchy is very high, very rampant. I do think, like Chantel said, there's a shift and we've been pivoting more to like what's equality and being able to see the sexes as equals in general. But I do still believe that we're, very much, because we are first generation, we're very much come with the culture and the traditions. We're still performing in those roles because I do serve my husband, I do. But he also cleans, he does things that are maybe not traditional gendered male roles.
And when I do something like that for my father, like I serve him plate, I don't see I don't see it with the mindset of like, oh, I'm submissive here. I do it more of courtesy. Yeah. I respect you. And because I want to, and like I respect you. And my dad does a lot for us, and I love him for that. But it's never gonna be like here, like, bow down, this is yours. Like, but that's how it felt back then. But I do it more out of like respect and because I love them. But never with the meaning of like you have all the power.
Yes, but I feel like Mariana.
Marianismo.
Hoy mismo Marianismo.
That bitch. So I feel like they do such a disservice to their sons when they raise them like that. They baby them, they do everything for them, they serve them, and they feel like their son can do no wrong. I feel bad for the woman that gets with that man, because when a woman gets with those type of men, now they have these standards of, what a woman should be like, and they put that standard on that girl, and it's like, unfair. It's unfair. And, a lot of times moms that have those traditional mindsets also want their daughter-in-law to have those same mindset. Yeah. They'll be the ones to be like, oh, you're not going to serve my son? Oh, she don't cook for you? Oh, this, oh, that, oh, this. Like, even though the girl works, even though the girl does other things, like, they just feel like, no, this is a standard, So I feel like we can be mad at men, for the way they are, but let's look at the root. Let's look at why they're like that, and it's because of the mothers that teach them those roles and teach them those values and teach them this is how it's supposed to be, and honestly, let's be real. Why is cleaning a woman thing? Role. Yes, like everybody should know how to clean. Like that's just like human common sense that everybody should be able to do.
It's like cooking. Like, don't you get hungry too?
Yeah. Yes, it's like
you can take care. A woman can take care of herself. You can take care of yourself too.
Exactly.
In baseline, we should all be able to fulfill our own needs.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, what's going on?
So I feel like it's just damaging to both. Like, yes, it's damaging to the daughter, but it's super damaging to the son because like a domino effect, because once a man only starts to see women as what they can do and as sex objects, I'm sorry, that's like a domino effect. There's a reason why men cannot respect us and see us more and see us as a human and see us as equal. It's because of the values and the things that they're taught since they're little. And it's so hard to unlearn that. Even us, like the self-sacrificing and like the giving and all that, like, I'm sorry, but a lot of women were like that. Like, we're just natural givers. Like, even if is it natural or were we conditioned to be givers? Well, there's a thing. I learned that actually trauma gets passed down. Yeah. So like emotions, trauma, all that gets passed down. So we carry a lot of trauma. Yeah, we carry a lot of trauma from our ancestors, So I feel like, yes, when you have a kid, there's certain things that your kid mimic. I mean, I don't have a kid, but from what I've heard, like there's certain things that your kid mimics naturally, like a personality trait or like an itch, like let's say that your kid mannerism, like there's certain mannerism that your kid inherits from you. So I feel like it's the same way. Like me, I am a natural giver. So in some sense, I can relate to that because I do give so much that now I feel like unappreciated. I feel burnt out. I feel all these emotions, and it's like, okay, because I like boundaries. So it's just
the Marianismo, selflessness. Check.
Yes, like and those women be mad at other women for going out and getting their degree,
for not performing the Marianismo,
but for doing the masculine things, like for being independent, for speaking their mind and shit that they weren't able to do or they didn't do. So they even talk down on those women, and it's like.
Well, like the men feel threatened by that, You
They
know?
do feel threatened.
They feel threatened. Like
Because
when
they
you
think
see
that's a man thing only.
when you see a woman get a degree, when you see a woman doing a lot better, making more money, and you feel threatened, that seems like a you issue or a man issue for you to feel threatened by that. Why? Because you were conditioned to that you are the power, you have control, and nothing is going to take over that household but you. Wrong. Women have more power now. Women have jobs. Women have great salaries. Women are succeeding more than ever. So I agree.
I think what it is too, when women are independent and they got their own money and they're educated, you can't fucking control me. Yeah. You can't manipulate me. I'm not saying you can't at all, but it's gonna be hard. You know, there's limits, and that's why men don't like it. I'm sorry, but they like submissive women for the control and the entitlement and the respect that they get and the power, you know? And
I'm sure my man would like to grab me by the throat sometimes. Hey, and I would like it too.
Hey. Oh, someone's been wanting to say that. Hey, you heard that, Rex? Oh.
But yeah, like it's just crazy. Like,
yeah, I feel like Evelyn, when I look at you, I feel like, you're living on your own and you're doing a lot of things to fight out of that Marianismo. You know, I feel like you're doing a lot of things that I feel like it's an internal battle for you. You're like, dude, I want to live life for myself. I want to do things for myself. And I really applaud that because I think, for me, when I thought, okay, I'm going to go move to Sacramento, and I was in Sacramento for my fellowship and I lived there for a few months, it was just so hard for me to think I would be so far from my family.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like not a concept that I was like comfortable.
And you were hours, girl, away.
I was away. I was like in Sacramento, and we live in Southern California. Not gonna give the exact location, although Chantal already gave my high school earlier
and college earlier in another episode.
Yeah, but like it was just like a detachment that was so hard for me, and all I think is like, well, I can't, like it's my family. Like I have to be like a part of my family, and that goes back to like, in Marianismo, it's attached to Hispanic, and Hispanic, we're very family oriented. It's very much like you do it for the collective, not for the individual. Right. And it kind of goes back to our other topic, but it's like when I think, oh, I can't be somewhere too far because what if my mom needs this, or what if it's just something that I think it's so hard. So I really applaud you to like live on your own and to like really fight, because I know, like you said, like, your parents sometimes they want you to be there and do more, and you're very present, but it's like you're trying to find your own independence while still fitting in like what is like a hierarchy and like a family norm. But I really applaud you because it's hard. It's hard to break that.
You know what? As she's saying that, maybe I never experienced machismo within my family, but I did experience Marianismo, especially a lot from my grandmother. Where especially when I was moving and I was already like heading out, and I think I told you guys about this. Like when I was already packing a few weeks before, my grandma said like, when I say in English and Spanish, she was like, "You're really gonna leave your mom by herself here? Like, de verdad vas a dejar a tu mamá aquí sola?" And I was like, I have a job now and it's over there. And she was like, and then she was just like, like, and the guilt that I will feel, and they don't know that. I think parents and grandparents don't know how bad and strong their words can hurt you and affect you with time, which is why a lot of men till this day don't cry, don't show emotions, don't this, because they have everything bottled. Like as a kid, I remember when I would cry, I would always be told, not always, but sometimes, ya vas a llorar. Or like, you're going to cry again. Yeah, and you're just like, should I not express myself? Should I just hold these feelings in? And then when I would hold those feelings in, as an adult, I am learning how to cope with that trauma. Why can't I express myself? I try not to express myself because I don't want to bring the burden to someone. So I'll cry in my room. And then once I'm out, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I'm good.
Again, that sacrificing selflessness, it checks that box. It's crazy. Like we think it manifests in different ways, because like I said, I didn't grow up with men in my life, but now that when I am with men, I do think like I perform, like when I see, again, my partner, I guess not really with my partner, but yeah, I guess I don't really live entirely like that, but I would say like the selflessness, the family oriented, not really chastity, because I feel like that I don't feel like that connection to it, but I do see it in both of your lives, and it's crazy. I feel like to see it on the outside, because I feel like my experience is very out there. It's not usual for people to only live around women. Right.
Unfortunately, like as much like I'm living like I don't have a boyfriend. I'm just focused on my job. I sometimes feel like my mom, she feels that I'll be safer if I have a boyfriend or a man around. I know it sounds very powerful and it sounds crazy, but like whenever, like last time she was telling my cousin, whoa, maybe I'm snitching my cousin out, Marisol. Well, anyways, she was telling us that, like, she was like, your mom last time was kind of worried. She was like stressed out. You know, I'm always that and dramatic. I'm like, and I'll be, dude, imagine my mom though. And she's like, she's like, no sé cómo, like, no sé a dónde, like, I don't know where everyone's going to find a good guy. Like, I'm worried for her. But why was, in my mind, I was like, why is that your biggest concern right now?
Yeah.
You know, I'm young, I'm making money, I can travel. Like, I'm safe on my own. And I'm surrounded by people that I also feel protected by, you know?
Yeah.
But it made me think, like, why did she feel like a man is what's gonna complete me?
No. There it is.
A man, I would be happy with a man, don't get me wrong, but it's not gonna complete my circle of happiness. Yes. You know, it's 1%. It's a 1%. It's like a percentage of my happiness.
A man should complement your life, not
right.
complete it.
Yes.
Right. So it's like, it's a percentage of my happiness, but it doesn't fill my full circle. So, like, let's not get that twisted. Yes. You know, I have my own things, my own passions, my own other things that I love doing aside from a man.
Mm-hmm. But it goes back to that point. Your mom's whole life, it's based on religion. It's based on serving your man, serving her husband. She served other people, you know, taking care of a bunch of kids, sacrificed her own dreams. You know, you said she was in school, she gave up school, got married, and that was the direction. So she's lived in that. Think of it. To us, we're looking at it in a very Americanized way. Like, why would a man completely? For her, it's like, this is what I grew up to be. I grew up that you're going to go to school, and after that, you're going to find a man, you're going to take care of a man, you're going to get family. Like, so for her, she did complete her life's purpose as a woman. Yes. So now she just wants to see that. But she truly doesn't know it better. It's ignorance, but not in a negative way, but it's just the not knowing, because that's what her whole world was formed around.
I mean, this is why I also, like, every time we're together, I tell my mom about all the great things I'm doing with my work, just so she can also have a glimpse on there's more things out there than just being happy with one individual. I'm not saying I'm being happy with several. No. I'm saying
more. She was good.
No, it's just there's so many other things that you can enjoy in life, like traveling, hanging out with your friends, doing something that you like, trying something new, than saying like, I'm good now. I'm safe because I'm with a man. You know?
Hey,
I can keep myself safe.
Cheers to that. Cheers to being independent woman.
Yes. Cheers.
Hey, so Father's Day too was good.
Yes, guys, we made it. And cheers to being the youngest.
Ew.
No, I absolutely love that, and I think that the messaging, like, that you should get from this is like, your life will not be complete with another person, you know, and that you shouldn't live your life for others, and you should really learn to form the life that you want with your needs and what you feel needs to be met, because what might be another person's truth might not be yours.
That's true.
Yeah, because I feel like you broke a cycle, you know, like you saw your mom and you're like, I don't want to do that. You know, I want to do something, like, I want to do more than just like my, like, not saying that family's not important, because family is very important.
Yes. And you're very family
But
oriented.
you as a woman, you wanted to see the world, you know, like you wanted to live the world, you want to have experiences. And like I see like my mom in you in some way, because like my mom, like my grandma never worked, you know, she had 7 daughters, like that was her life. Because she was so, you know what's funny, that this is crazy, because when I was learning about Marianismo and like what it does, it can cause like serious like depression, anxiety. It can even cause personality disorder. It can cause bitterness. It can cause diabetes to women. Like it can cause all kinds of sickness, stress. Yeah. And it's crazy because when I read that, I thought of my grandma, and my grandma really practiced that, and she died like at 50 from diabetes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she died really young. And now that I look at all my aunts and my mom, and like there's 7, so my mom's the 7, so like they're all independent. Like only one tia did end up following her mom's footsteps, the oldest one, of course, you know. And like, I mean, she is struggling with things. Like my tia Sandra, the oldest one, she has cancer and she has diabetes. She has all these things, but she's so positive. Like, but her husband died before I even existed, so I never saw her with like a partner. Like she just been widowed since 20 plus years. Yeah. And that's another part of that tradition. Like they want you to never remarry. Like they want you to forever grieve your partner if you're a woman. But that's another topic. But anyways, my mom, I see her and it's like, wow, she broke that cycle. You know, like she was like, no, I'm going to go get my job. I'm going to go get my things. I'm going to enjoy life. And growing up, she's always implemented that in my head. Like, mija, go see what's out there before you even think about kids, before you even think about a man. And I remember, like, I didn't have my first boyfriend until I was like a senior, like my first real boyfriend. And even before that, I would always brag, like, oh, I don't want a boyfriend, I want a boyfriend. And it was really from my mom. Like, my mom was playing that for me, that, like, go figure yourself out first. Love yourself first before you start loving somebody else.
It's always, actually, I wanted to add on to that. I think your mom, like you said, it's like applying, breaking a cycle. I think it's great. It is not easy. Like, till this day, I still struggle with that because I feel guilty. I feel bad because I followed my career and I didn't leave with a man. It hurts me sometimes because sometimes my mom would say, when I want you to leave this house, I want you to leave in a white dress. And that affected me so much because I was like, I'm not living in a white dress, but I'm living in my business clothes because I'm going to chase like something that I really love. Yeah. And I think with that, it's like she still admires that because it's something that she couldn't do. Yeah. And then she tells me, like, oh, I admire that. But even though it's so hard for her, but she doesn't know that, you know, monthly, I sometimes cry and I think about them and I'm like, you know what? If you're in this position right now where you feel guilty about leaving your family, if they're healthy, if they're doing well, if there's no issues right now of you, like anything preventing you to leave, take that opportunity and go because they're healthy right now. There's going to be a moment in age where they're not going to be able to take care of themselves. You're going to have to change them or any of that, which I know I'm going to be there fully for my parents and take care of them until the day that, you know, they're not here. But if you have the opportunity right now at this young age, just take advantage of it because there's going to be an age where you're not going to be able to do that.
It's a beautiful message. I agree. At the end of the day, you know, you got to make sure you're happy, and breaking those cycles is the hardest thing to do, and that's that battle you have to fight every day.
True. Yeah. Last time she saw me punching the air, I was like, "Oh, sorry, I saw ghosts."
I was like, "Whoa, thank God I'm not there."
All right, guys. Well, that's the end of our episode 13. You know, thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoy the episode, don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you don't want to, it's cool. You know, you do what you want when you pop in, but you know,
you'd be more popping if you do this, though.